back, Refocus Gang, and welcome back to another episode of Refocus on You. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. Please make sure that you are liking, subscribing, and sharing all of these videos. So, today we're going to talk about, are you good for a fun time or are you good for a lifetime? So, let me tell y'all, I had a dream last week. And I don't know where I was in the dream. Honestly, it was just white. And I don't want to say, I don't know where I was at, but it was just white. So I was talking to this old man, and he was older, like maybe in his 80s. And he had been married for over about 50 years. So I'm talking to him, and I was like, well, what do you think is the key to your marriage? And he was like, well, I believe the key to my marriage is I always made sure I was more interested than my wife. And I kind of laughed like, okay. And I was like, what do you mean by you made sure you was more interested than your wife? And he was like, well, women are complex creatures. He was like, you guys need a lot. He was like, so I always made sure I was more interested than my wife because she would get bored easily if I wasn't bringing anything sort of say to the table. Like she would get bored with me easily, and at that point I would lose her. So in order to make sure I did not lose her, I made sure I was more interesting than her. And I woke up out the dream, and it was kind of like, for a minute I had to wake up like, what? Women get bored easily? Women? I thought it was the other way around. Like, for a long time, men have been acting like we're the ones who have to kind of hold their attention. We're the basic ones, and they are the ones who, oh, we need this. We need you to look like this. We need you to be like this. You got to be this, this, and this. You can't hold a man attention a long time, blah, blah, blah. But from this older gentleman's point of view, it's the women who are like easily bored. Like, nah, bro, this is not working anymore. It kind of made sense to me. Like, after I woke up and I thought about it, like, you know what? He honestly might have a whole point. Like, I have noticed that in my relationships, no matter how I try to swing a relationship, it always get to that point where it's like, okay, what now? Now, you know, you go through that honeymoon phase that, oh, hey, how you doing? I miss you. What you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Let's get to know each other. Yeah, what are you doing? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Where do you like to go? What's your hobbies? What do you do for fun? Do you read books? What's your 10-year plan? You start doing different things like that. And once you get to know a person, then you try to get to know those complex things. What makes you click? What frustrates you? Can you handle pressure? Do you fold under pressure? Can you handle my pressure and your pressure if giving that time? And you start learning, and you know, for maybe the first 6 months to 2 years, it gets exciting and it's like, okay, yeah, it's a new person, blah, blah, blah. But I have noticed somewhere down the line, I tend to start to feel like, okay, now what? Like, honestly, I get bored. And after having that dream, I kind of realized that, like, it's not that these relationships are not working, and it's not that, it may not even be the person. It's me. Like, I get bored. And maybe I get bored because I did not vet you enough to make sure that you could hold my attention that long. See, men are more simpler than women, even if they don't want to actually admit that, because a man can do the same thing constantly, and it's okay. They always tend to try to say like, oh, well, we get bored with women easily. We like multiple things. It's the same cat. It's the same woman. But honestly, a man can be okay with the same cat if he wants to be. So honestly, when it comes to the more complex things, like I need you to do this, this, and this, it is a woman that tends to need more than a man, regardless of what they try to tell you. So I've noticed that after having the dream, it's like, hey, you're just losing interest in this person, because it honestly gets to the point where, okay, all you're thinking about now is me. And maybe it's the type of person I am, the type of energy that I give off. And maybe they get so wrapped up in that energy. It's like, okay, I just want to be about this person, be about her. And I enjoy that. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy that. I enjoy you checking on me. I enjoy you calling me. I enjoy you making your life about me. But at the same token, now what? Honestly, like, what can you teach me? How are you going to hold my attention for X amount of years? So the same way that women, I feel like, have always been worried about, how can I hold this man's attention? Because it's always been taught that you can't hold a man's attention. So we're on ourselves. How do I do this? I gotta keep it sexy here. I gotta make sure I cook. I gotta make sure I'm smart. I gotta make sure I contribute. I gotta make, like, it's we've been running ourselves raggedy when there's nothing on the other end. Now, I'm a very simple person. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I need some type of extravagant behavior all the time, but I have noticed that in my relationships, I do tend to be the leader, the motivator, the one teaching every single thing. And it just really got me to thinking, like, as I start to get more in touch with my feminine side, I am realizing that I need him to be able to teach me something. Like, I need him to be able to honestly pour into me the way I have poured into others in the past, currently, or whatever. Like, I need him to be able to pour into me. I need him to be able to bring me up to speed. I want someone who is constantly learning so that they can constantly teach me, honestly. Because I am constantly learning. So I'm constantly saying, yo, did you know? Did you know? Or like, I'm good for that. Did you know? Or have you read that? And I need that in return. A lot of times in relationships, people feel like, oh, as long as we are having sex, I'm holding their interest. No. And this can go for male or female. If you ever been in a relationship and, like, it started off good and things are going smooth, and then all of a sudden it's like you hit a rock and it's like, we just here. We just doing the same thing every single day. We're in the same groove. And you get to the point where it's like, it's no excitement here. Like, I know this. It's like riding the same ride at a theme park. If you ride the same ride, say 10 times at a theme park, you're going to eventually know every bump, every drop, every twist, every turn, and you're going to eventually stop screaming. When you stop screaming, that ride is no longer fun. In a relationship, when it gets repetitious, it's no longer fun. It's no longer, I'm ready to see my mate. I'm about to go see my mate. Like, you gotta make sure that in a relationship that you're always fun. You're always available or able to teach the person that you're with something new. Sex is not gonna hold nobody's attention for not long. Like, honestly, if you can teach me something that's gonna make the sex better, and I don't mean like teach me something with having sex. I mean, like, what can you teach me? Can you teach me about stocks today? What are you learning? What are you learning to better your life? Because a lot of times people want you to make your life all about them, but they don't have anything going on in their life for you to actually sit down and say, okay, I'll be all about you. So I came up with some questions that you can ask yourself. And this is whether you are male or female, or you can ask the person that you're actually trying to date. Because it's nothing worse than being in a relationship for 5 years and realizing that we have got into this groove and this repetition that this is no longer fun for me. And you need to, like, you can actually use these questions to actually check your relationship to make sure that your relationship is still fun and your mate is still happy. I honestly believe that in a relationship or marriage, you should have like some type of meetings, monthly meetings, maybe, depending on how well the relationship is going, quarterly meetings, like, because you grow every day. Everything grows every single day. Change is gonna happen. So the person that you married last year is not the same person today. And the person you married 10 years ago is definitely not the same person today. You guys may have a whole different outlook on life. So it's important to make sure that you have checkpoints within this said relationship so that you don't just keep doing the same thing over and over. And you thinking you in premarital bliss and they miserable. And I mean, I know marriages that are miserable, like everywhere. Like, I talk to people every single day. So, and it could be sometimes complete strangers. Like, they are miserable because everybody's just doing the same thing over and over. So it's important to make sure that you are doing these checkpoints. Like, what do you need from me? Honestly, if you are in a marriage, I challenge you to sit down and say, what do you need from me now? And don't do this if you are going to ask the question, but not try to shift your mindset, not try to put yourself in the other person's shoes, not try to oblige what the other person is asking you to do. Because honestly, marriage is work. So if you're not willing to do the work, you really should not be married. But sit down and ask, like, hey, what do you need from me now? Who are you now? Who are the person that you have grown into? What are your life goals now? How do you see our future now? How do you see your future now? How can I help you get to said future? How can you help me? These are the things I need. Like, you have to be able to ask each other these questions. But 3 questions. Male or female? I'm going to use woman. I'm a woman. What are 3 things that a man can do to help facilitate your growth? So if you are already in a relationship, ask, what are 3 things I can do for you in this season of your life that can help facilitate your growth? What do you need help with? What can I be more of? What do we need to learn more together? Because honestly, if you're going to do life together, you have to have some type of similar interests. And in that point, what can we learn together? How can I benefit you learning and you benefit me learning so that we can grow this thing? Because the goal is always in life to make sure that you set the next generation up for greatness. So if your marriage is not working towards setting the next generation up for greatness, and I don't just mean financially, I mean mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of the leads, like, for real, you have to make sure that you are setting an example for your kids that are going to lead them to greatness. So what can I do to help you facilitate growth? What are 3 things that I can do in this season of your life to make you feel special? And if you're coming into a relationship, what are 3 things that I can do that makes you feel special? Like, what am I supposed to do to keep you excited? Like, what keeps you excited? And as well as asking these questions, make sure that you are studying your mate every single day. That becomes an issue too, because people think that after that initial get to know that, okay, I know you. No, you don't. You don't, because people change. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. Like, we change, and you're supposed to change. If you're not changing, you're not growing. And anything that does not grow is dead. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to grow. Your needs are supposed to change. Your wants are supposed to change. It's supposed to happen. Stop fighting it. And if you're going into a relationship, what does leading a household mean to you? So females, if you're going into a relationship with a man, it is so important to make sure that you ask this person, or with the man, with the woman, I don't care. If you're going in a relationship, ask this person, what does leading a household mean to you? And you can ask, actually, this can be a male or a female question, because at some point, the woman leads the household too. You lead in different areas, but you both lead. And that's what the whole neck and head thing. You're both going to lead, because if I didn't have this, I couldn't move this. So you're both going to lead. So what does that mean to you? How am I supposed to help you? What type of benefit do you need from me in order to push you? Like, so that is a very important question. Like, what does this mean to you? What am I supposed to do for you? What do you need me to constantly be doing? And you have to constantly ask each other these questions. It's so important to make sure that you and your partner are actually on the same page. That's what those meetings are about. Are we on the same page? Are we striving for the same thing? If your partner is asking you for something that you're not doing, and you refuse to do it, I want you to honestly ask yourself, is this the person I want to be with? And you may be like, yeah, I want to be with this person. Honestly, think about this. Madea said a long time ago in the Tyler Perry play, a person who loves you is going to make sure that they change for you. They accommodate you. Why? Because they don't want to run the risk of losing you. So if you are in a relationship with the person and they are constantly asking you for the same thing and you are not doing it, you don't care to do it, you do it for maybe a week and then you go right back to yourself, do you really love this person? Is this really the person you want to be with? Because think about it. If your boss came to you and said, hey, I notice you late every single day. And it's only 5 or 10 minutes, but you're late. So I'm going to need you to either get here early or exactly on time. But if you continue to come in here late every day, you're going to be fired. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to start getting up early enough to go to work, because he already told me he's going to fire me. So if you can use that much self-control to make sure that you get to your job on time so you don't get fired, if your partner asks you for anything within reasonable reason, and you don't comply, you don't try to use some type of compromise, like, okay, well, I might can't do that, but I can do this, and you don't stick to that compromise, you don't really love that person. You don't really want to be with that person at all. Because anything that you want, you're going to work it. You're going to work it. Just like if you want a new car, you're going to make sure that you're saving your money to get a new car because you want it. It's all about what you want. So if you want this person to be happy, you're going to do exactly what it takes to make that person be happy. So ask yourself those questions when it comes to your relationship. Am I still interested? What am I teaching this person? Have we gotten in a routine that we're just living life? If you feel like you've actually gotten in a routine where you are just living life, it's time to sit down and ask some questions. And if you're not married yet, ask these questions before. And make sure you make a plan like, hey, I feel like we need to have these meetings to make sure that we're on the same page. I know some people who do these meetings like once a week. On Sunday, they get together and they go over their week. I think I heard Sarah J. Roberts say that at the end of every day, her husband, they talk and they ask each other, well, how did you see today? What happened? And she said, even if they if they do the same thing all day, they're together all day doing the same thing. Because honestly, your perception and your husband's perception, or your perception and your wife's perception, is always going to be different, because your perception is how you visualize your life. So it's going to be based upon what has happened in your life. So if you grew up in the hood and you grew up in the suburbs, You're gonna, even if you do the exact same thing, you're gonna see that different. A child who barely goes somewhere and a child who goes somewhere constantly, if you take these same two kids to Carowinds, they're gonna see it different. The child who always go, she might not have that much fun. Why? Because she's used to it. It's like, okay, whatever. I'm here. I'm having a ball. But the child who don't never go nowhere, they gonna be super excited. Like, I'm making Carowinds. I want to ride this, because they're not used to it. So your perception is going to be based on your life. So it's important to sit down with your spouse, your mate, your partner, the person you're trying to be with, the person you're trying to build a life with, constantly making sure that we are on the same page. We are seeing things the same. We are growing the same. We are building the same. If you're not, you need to check that. Honestly. Like, I'm trying to promote a generation where marriages actually matter. And I don't mean them toxic marriages where your grandparents came home, your granddaddy came home and threw the food out the door, or he beat your grandmama, or he had 6 kids down the road. Nah, not them relationships. I mean actual loving relationships where, no, this works. Like, this is my yin and yang. Like, this works. He teaches me every day. She teaches me every day. I can't do life without her. Like, I want relationships like that. Like, I can't do life without them. Like, I'm whole by myself. We're going to do a video on that too, because you got to be whole by yourself. But I don't want to do life without this person. And when it comes to that, you have to make sure that you are on the same page. Always. Always. So the 3 questions are, what are 3 things that I'm just going to put I, and you can fill it in with male or female. What are 3 things that I can do to facilitate your growth? 1. What are 3 things that I can do to make you feel special? What is leading a household mean to you? And if you're already married, what do you need from me in this season? And make sure you remember, if you're not willing to work on whatever your partner needs from you in this season, you need to honestly sit down and do some soul searching to make sure this is the partner that you want to do life with. If it's not, just say that. Honestly, it's time out for being unhappy. Like, it's 2021. We're not being happy. We're not being unhappy. We're gonna be happy. It's important to make sure that you be happy. So think about this. Think about this for real. And not just for the men, for the women as well. Make sure that you are interested enough to hold a person. Like, are you good for a fun time, or are you good for a lifetime? Are you a good person? And honestly, some people will just be good to go out with, to eat with, to party with, to do this with, and they're not good for a lifetime. And that's okay. Like, we all have our niche. But if that is the case, you need to know that up front before you try to mix yourself together. So I greatly appreciate you guys watching. I hope this video has helped someone. I hope it's made a light bulb come on for someone. Drop me some comments in the comment section. Please let me know if you have some videos that you want to see, that you need to see. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys for watching.